What's up, y'all? It's Vitamin M coming at you with another bourbon review, and today we've got a pretty special episode, as you can see here. Today we have the Bardstown Origin Series. All four of these bottles here. Now, I wanted to review this one, but I thought to really do justice to this in the whole series, I wanted to do the entire series, as you can see here. All four of the selections, this one, the wheated, or the high wheated one, higher wheat than the black label, a higher wheat content than the black one here, just released this year. I was actually in downtown Louisville the day it was released with my best friend, so we picked it up at that location that's in downtown Louisville for the Bardstown Bourbon Co. And that was really cool. It didn't even show up until about 3 or 4 months later around me on the shelves. So this was cool to find it. I tried it at the bar. It was fantastic. But I'll get into my thoughts on that and all of these guys eventually. But a little bit on Bardstown Bourbon Co. Essentially, they're this big bourbon company that's in Bardstown, but really they're one of the biggest sourcers for a bunch of smaller bourbon brands or up-and-coming brands like we've discussed before. Redwood Empire, Horse Soldier, we haven't talked about, Green River, some things like that. They'll be made, their juice will be made by Bardstown Bourbon Co. So if it says like bottled in something Kentucky or made in Kentucky, whatever, chances are it's MGP if it's going to go and say Indiana. But if it doesn't and it says something that leads you to think that it was distilled or whatever in Kentucky, then 9 times out of 10, it's these guys. And they make really solid juice. This is my favorite series that they do. I'm not a big fan of the Discovery and the Fusion kind of stuff they do. They're very hit or miss to me. But this series has always been very solid, and you can't go wrong with it whatsoever here. So we've got all four here. Now it's time to try all four. And we'll start off with this guy here. Starting off with the tried and true Bardstown Bourbon Co. Just call it Bardstown Origin Series here. This one coming in at 96 proof is pretty solid. This is your typical kind of bourbon notes and your mash bill as well. What I really love that Bardstown does is they will specify the entire mash bill. They'll even say where it comes from. Like they've had, Kentucky here. They'll have stuff that comes from Georgia, Tennessee, all these other places. But they have the whole mash bill breakdown on the side. And I've always really liked that. And looking at it, distilled 2016. So it's aged for, I don't remember how long this one's been aged. Oh, well. Someone correct me in the comments. But anyways, whoa, hang on there. We're getting to that part. But it's kind of your typical mash bill ingredients here. Corn, rye, malted barley, as you saw. Some of the other offerings have some wheat content to them as well, which I think kind of softens it a little bit. But some wheated bourbons, I've kind of gotten more back into them, but they're kind of hit or miss with it. So I've already opened this. That's a good cork anyways, but we'll have a little sip of this guy. Not too much history today. So us bourbon nerds will be pretty sad about that. But for the aficionados that want all the tastes and the notes and everything, you'll like this one. But coming in here, I'm just going to go straight into the nose. Yeah. Just a solid, soft start. Your basic caramels, butterscotches here. Nothing extraordinarily different that's there. Maybe a little bit of red fruit or so. Kind of like a raspberry, but it's nothing you haven't smelled before. It's pretty basic in that sense. We'll go straight to the mouth here. And we drink today because tomorrow we die. Just a good warm mouthfeel. Very syrupy on its viscosity. It's solid all around. You can't go wrong with this. And coming in at 96 proof, it drinks closer to like a bottled in bond, I'll say, which is the next one. But it's not too harsh. It's just kind of there. Even though it's not wheated, it kind of has that softness to it on it. As it's going down, think like kind of like bread, that kind of softness with it, as you would. But I think this is a solid start. You can't go too wrong with this one. It's not it's nothing extraordinarily special in the grand scheme of things, but it's very solid for what it is here. Next, we have the Bottled in Bond offering, clocking it at 100 proof. And this one's actually a high wheated one. I thought the one that released this year was their only high wheated selection. Apparently it's not. I think this one is 20% wheat or so. But again, we can look at the mash bill here. You know, and this is what I really like about these guys. So as you can see, I don't know if my camera is focusing on that, but I'll read it anyways there. But it's all from Kentucky. It's corn, 68% wheat, 20%, and then malted barley finishes off for 12. So it swaps the rye for the wheat, so we won't get as much of that punchiness or some of those like kind of sugar cookie kind of sweetness notes or something like that. The punchiness and the spiciness isn't as pronounced on this one. So we'll go ahead and open this one up. Historically, this one's my favorite. I really like that drinks like a Bottled in Bond, but I like the, I definitely like the wheat here. Like I said, slowly been getting back into wheats, but this one is one that delivers pretty well. So I have that there for y'all to look at. And I love the artwork that they go to on the backdrop here. So this is just an imprint that's here, and then you can see it through the glass. It's a nice presentation with what it does. I've always loved their bottles. They're very simple. They're very appealing and straightforward with everything here. So that's pretty nice. And they talk about more on this. But this is the Bottled in Bond. So that's pretty nice. And go to the, excuse me, we'll go to the nose. I pick up more oak on this one up front, a heartiness, a woodiness to it here as well, so that's pretty nice. Your caramel and your butterscotches are here. It's more of a fullness from the oak, excuse me, that carries this here. I don't know why I'm hiccuping or whatever here, but that's a good nose. That's like very full, warm. So we'll have a little sip here and we drink today because tomorrow we die. Gotta slam it first, there you go. And that continues on the mouth there. It's just a very full viscosity, a little bit of syrup, but those oak tannins really shine on this one versus the other one. Now, too many oak tannins are too bitter. This one's just balanced right, where you get a heartiness, you get a good woody kind of full note to it that's all going down. A little bit of a char, I would say. The more wood, you're going to taste some more of that char taste, especially going down on this one. Char, kind of a, not a burnt, but it's kind of getting that way, but it's that char. Just all around good. And that wheat provides a good softness here as well. There's like a cherry note on there as well that I think comes from the wheat, which is solid. But this one's definitely the hearty one out of the collection here. And we'll get to kind of the more fruity one here next. So this is a great bottle here. Like I said, this historically is my favorite out of the collection. Can't go wrong with this one whatsoever. I like this one. Less 50 bucks. Great bottle. Next up is the most oddball of the collection. This is their rye, which they finish in a sherry cask. So this one, this one's kind of off the wall for me here. Excuse me. Back when this was a collection of 3, this was the one I didn't have, and I waited forever to get it because for whatever reason, this one is 70 bucks. The other 2 were 50 bucks, and I think even the wheated one's like 55, maybe or so. But I've never understood why this one is 70 above the other ones. I guess it's just part of the finish that it has to do past however long it's aged in the barrel. Who knows? But Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey finished in toasted, cherry wood, not sherry. Whoops. And oak barrels. Okay. So that's kind of cool. But we'll go to the mash bill here. All stuff from Kentucky, as you can see. 95% rye, 5% malted barley. So this doesn't count as a bourbon. There's no corn in it whatsoever. Not even 51% corn. This is rye as it gets with the finish. This one is definitely kind of odd with it. I mentioned, okay. The wrappers, they've got these little, little paper guys on there. I don't know how I didn't take that off before. But like I said, this one's kind of odd with what it is in the whole series. I like that they have a rye to go with everything. but it's just kind of. I'll get to my thoughts on the taste here, but I guess it's part of the extra aging and the finish they have to do for why it's 70, but it's like, I won't spoil too much, but I haven't had this in a while, so maybe my thoughts change. But we'll get straight to the nose. Ooh, yeah, I mean, that cherry wood obviously stands out there. It's like kind of like like if you've ever smoked meats before, choose like an apple wood or a cherry wood to throw in your smoker. It's very much that smell here right off the bat. So lots of cherry, a little bit of like a raspberry to it as well. But it's just like that. It's just that cherry wood dominates. I use the smoking analogy there. I'm smoking some meats on my own here. But that is really delectable right there. That's pretty solid. Now I want some smoked meats. Now I want to go smoke a whole brisket or something. But anyways, we'll get straight into the mouth and the notes here. And we drink today once again, because tomorrow we die. This one's just very odd because it doesn't have a lot of the rye spice until it really goes down your throat. Get a little bit of a graininess there. There's not a lot of punch. It's just very up in the front. You get that cherry, that oak a bit, and then it really dies in the middle of your tongue. It just gets so watery for some reason. I don't know why, but like I said, this one's the oddball. It's got the more fruit kind of taste to it here. But honestly, for the $70, this isn't worth 70. Like, I'd rather just pay the 45 if I really wanted this, or like the other ones. But this one is definitely my least favorite out of the collection. It's a nice little party trick, but it's really not that great. I've had much better ryes, and I don't know if I'll ever buy this again, to be quite honest. It's not that great. It just dies in the middle of your tongue. There's better ryes out there for sure. Skip on this one. And now we get to do a fresh crack of the high wheated, not just the wheated, Bardstown Origin Series here. Now, like I said, I was actually in downtown Louisville the day this was released. I literally went to the distillery the day before this guy was released. I asked if I could just go ahead and buy it, and they said, well, no, you have to wait until tomorrow. I'm like, okay, whatever. Anyways, I got it when we were in downtown Louisville, when we were at Old Forester and Victor's. So this was pretty cool. Tried at the bar, and it was nice. So that was pretty fun. Glad I got this, and then it didn't show up, like I said earlier, till like 4 months or so in my area for this. But this is pretty solid here. So this one is a little different. Clocking in at 100 and I don't know if you can see that from the glare, but clocking in at 106 proof with this guy. Wheated bourbon, as you see. Everything still from Kentucky. Distilled 2018. So, oh, I forgot to mention earlier. Instead of it doesn't just list the mash bill. It also has the age for each of the juices. So because okay. I forgot to explain this earlier. It lists it all by the juice itself. So this juice comes from Kentucky, and only Kentucky, from the Bardstown Bourbon Co. If it doesn't come from Bardstown, it'll just say like Columbus, Georgia or something, and then have the mash bill and the age of that juice. So I don't know about, you can pause the video and check out the age. This one is 6 years. I think the others might be 5 or 6 years or something. You can pause the video though. I forgot to talk about that a little bit more, but that's what's really nice about these. These guys are really the only ones that I really know of that actually say the mash bill on the side, on their bottle or anything as well. And then, you know, nice bottles as I said before. Excuse me, but we'll go ahead and crack this guy open. And I actually really liked this one, so this was solid. I'm actually going to have some water to clear my palate a little more. There we go. I'll take this paper one off here. And we'll crack it. Oh yeah, that's a good cork right there. Full, good sound. That's what we like to hear. That's a sign of a good bourbon. To me, I have no idea if there's a scientific reason. We'll go ahead and take a little pour. Okay. Nope. Gotta catch that. But, forgotten to look at color as well. This was the one I really wanted to crack open. I've cracked open the other one, so we'll look at color a little bit here. All right, very nice. It's kind of wheat. A little bit of caramel there. Not quite hay like Traveler whiskey in the very first bourbon review. So we've come a long way since then, but kind of like a little bit of caramel to it. So we'll try it on the nose here. Ooh. There's like even though it's high wheat, which wheat is this? 53 corn, 39% wheat, and then 8% malted barley. So no rye. Even though I get like the smell of rye a little bit. There's definitely a punchy graininess to that more so. I mean, like when I smell it, it's closer to like the texture of wheat in and of itself, but it has that rye graininess and everything to it. A little bit of caramel butterscotch, but it's really that rye punchiness type behavior that's there on the nose. So for the final time of this episode, we'll drink today because tomorrow we die. That's just a good wheated bourbon right there. Nice and soft, a little bit of raspberry, some cherry, a little bit in there as well. But it's very approachable, even at 106 proof, which is kind of hard to come by. Wow, that's solid. This one might actually be my favorite now that I've had all of these side by side. Wow, it's so soft and approachable, which is nice. It doesn't drink like 106. It's more like a 95 or an 100. That's pretty solid. That's good. Good wheatedness. There's enough of an oak and a char in there as well to carry that. It takes what the Bottled and Bond Origin Series, the Black Label one, does. It takes the foundation of that and builds the 5-star hotel, to be quite honest with you. I mean, this is fantastic. Maybe it's just my wheated bourbon crave right now, but this is really solid. I like this quite a bit. This is a good pour. I'm gonna call it now. This is the best in the series, period. That's good stuff. Nice oak, but plenty of that softness of the wheat, approachability, nice fruit, good oak tannins, good char. Right in the front of your mouth, and it gets more soft as you go down. Ooh, it's just kind of light with that. That's nice. That's a good pour for tonight. This one's definitely the best out of the series. Wow. That's really good. I'll leave my rankings of each of these in the comments below, so be on the lookout for that as well. But this is, I think, the best in the series. I'm going to call it right now. That's my thoughts on all of these. Pretty solid selection here. Like I said, can't go wrong with them. Some definitely stand out more than the others, but at the end of the day, you can't go too wrong with them. A lot of them, their price kind of depends. This one is $70 for some reason. These ones are closer to 50, so they're pretty good. I think this one on the end is closer to like 55 or 50, whatever these guys are. But keep that in mind. That's what they're asking MSRP. So thanks for joining me on this review, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Cheers.